Welcome to the Real CP Show. I'm your host, CP. And today's topic, Asian male says Egypt is not in Africa, but he's a people of color, right? And a minority as well, right? Again, today's topic is an Asian male says Egypt is not in Africa, but he would be considered what? A people of color. And this is also what numbers of personnel from the supremacist system who are the most awesome mental manipulation force that's ever existed. It is as if, say for instance, American blacks overall, as if the American blacks overall is not supposed to have any kind of history. That the American blacks just appeared out of nowhere, right? And as if on the ancient continent of Africa, right, relating to this topic of Egypt, as if Egypt was predated by colonizers and numbers of colonizers built pyramids left out of Africa, and then numbers of African personnel in Egypt who I guess really wasn't African, they were somebody else. They built the pyramids. Because again, this is what supremacists are doing. They laugh each and every day of how easy it is to get quite a number of American blacks and certain number of ones from Africa to just tolerate any type of insult about historicalness because they know overall there's not going to be any constructive consequences and they're to be allowed. Even like in this particular topic of the Asian male says Egypt is not in Africa, but he is a people of color and basically a minority. And unfortunately, especially within the US part of it, you have quite a number of American blacks that continue to keep allowing even numbers of Asians, whatever that's supposed to mean, because when you say the word Asian, that's a continent. And also various type of backgrounds and ethnicities and etc. So which Asians, right? Because again, the stereotypical Asian personnel is so silly, right? To think that an Asian is some stereotypical look, but this is what they have got numbers of American blacks overall, and they used to think what is a stereotypical looking Asian. And so again, back in this particular topic, this particular agent says Egypt is not in Africa, but he's a people of color, basically a minority. And so he can switch in and out, not this person specifically, but say the phenotype. He is I don't know if he's in America or if this is another place. It's not even the issue relating to this particular video I'm about to show you, because still in America, there have all kind of Egyptian artifacts. So, and obviously, they're all kind of artifacts in Africa and various parts of Europe. They have various types of Egyptian artifacts. The context is still the same. You have personnel that seem to think that there was non-melanation people that built the pyramids. When at that time, the only main people were what? And I'm gonna play some in a little bit. Were basically the Greeks, which the Greeks didn't consider themselves a Caucasoid type of phenotype. First of all, there is no such thing as what we would call a Caucasoid or Caucasian in the first place, even thinking about going to Africa. There would have been no what we call a stereotypical Asian personnel running in Egypt, being in pyramids. So who else you talking about? Certainly was no Hispanics at all, right? In Egypt, thousands of years ago. So who else do they have? You see this game, right? That's so ridiculous, stupid. So let me go ahead and play this video on this, right? Let me play this video. Give me one moment here. It is so ridiculous when I saw this video. It was ridiculous because the insultingness that they feel that they can insult numbers of American blacks and certain numbers of African personnel, etc., and just make up stuff because they understand that there is no constructive consequences to been allocated upon that person personnel who makes such illogical statements, right? Because it won't be tolerated if it was vice versa. So give me one moment here. Give me one moment. Yeah. Give me one moment here. Mhm. Okay, give me one moment here. Let me let me do that again. Give me one moment. Mm, 1 second here.
So Egypt, it's a continent. So they're your people. Well, they're your people. Wait. Look, so Egypt is Africa. Middle East, it includes Egypt. Wait. So Egypt is in the Middle East. Yeah, in the Middle East. So it's not in Africa. Not in Africa. It's not in Africa. Look at your map. About to go viral in 3, 2, 1. Africa is dark. Egypt is brown. Like it's brown. So Egypt's not black. Egypt's not black. Oh, the lower portion down there, they're black. Okay. I mean, these look pretty black to me, but they're missing their faces. That's not black. It's not black. It's the color. You see the painting? It's brown. Look at the painting. It's brown. Look at your map. Egypt is an ancient African origin.
The overallness of the what supremacist knows is the overall destruction of the American black culture. That's not going to go past one generation. And even on the ancient continent of Africa, that is definitely not in the same category of the historical powerhouse of people in the various parts of African past. And this is done on purpose, especially by colonizers and post-colonizing second and third area type of people that in Africa know that in Africa now in various places and will be also pseudo colonizing even more parts of Africa because they understand that Africa is the last great frontier of resources and other type of benefits that they don't have in their own country. And unfortunately, constructively, there is quite enough people within Africa that are not going to constructively say, no, we're not going to have this. So you heard what this dolphin poop person said. He felt that the Egyptians were brown. Now, this guy phenotype looking outside in Again, I don't recall where this particular video is from. It's not even a point. The context, this particular guy would be considered an Asian, be it a stereotypical Asian, or for ones who know, he will be a non-stereotypical Asian personnel on that and saying such illogical statements. I want to play that. Let me play that again. It was so ridiculously when I sit there and saw that when I sit there and saw this fool said what he said about Egypt, basically not being black on that. Uh,
Egypt is wrong. So, so Egypt, it's a continent. So they're your people. Well, they're your people. Wait. Look, so Egypt is Africa. Middle East, it includes Egypt. Wait. So Egypt is in the Middle East. Yeah, in the Middle East. So it's not in Africa.
Egypt is in the Middle East. Okay.
Look at your map. He's about to go viral.
And he said, "Look in the map. I'm going to show the map."
Egypt is brown. Like it's brown. Oh,
Egypt is brown.
Black. Egypt is black. Oh, the lower portion down there, they're black.
That guy will like he has some brown skin.
That's not black. It's not black. It's the color. You see the painting? It's brown. Look at the painting. Look at your map. Egypt is an ancient African origin.
Hmm. Mm, 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 mm. It's just like in certain parts of Africa, and definitely, especially like within the country of America, the American blacks, certain numbers of ones, beside the certain exemption exceptions, continue to keep allowing people to slide under the ones who do slide under people of color and minority. That guy himself, not him personally, he can go to hell, but he would be considered a people of color. If he's in America, he would be a people of color. If he came from some European place, or if he came from some Arab place over there, he comes over to America. If he's not in America, he would be considered a people of color, minority, and then laughs, right? And this is also what numbers of American blacks, certain ones that don't quite get that concept.
Peace, perhaps on your side, Maximal Scum. Yes, but not on ours. Permit me to inform you that an enemy which appears to be peaceful may in fact be merely biding its time.
Let me play it one last time.
Peace, perhaps on your side, Maximal Scum. Yes, but not on ours. Permit me to inform you that an enemy which appears to be peaceful may in fact be merely biding its time.
Yes, an enemy that basically pretends to be your friend is only buying time. And this is what Harvard numbers of personnel from different cultures are continually doing, especially America. They slide under the ones who do slide under the banner of people of color minority while sitting back laughing, while numbers of American blacks continue to keep helping them. I'm talking about the ones who do, which is quite a number, right? The system makes sure it puts them inside various parts of black neighborhoods, and the ones say that want to be that look like maybe going toward more toward a person with a predominant culture. No, they don't want to put them in there based upon non-melanation look, but at the same time they let it be known, hey, keep your friendliness to the real friendliness from those black folks because they're violent. Even though historically, who has been the most violent people, right? From what race and culture and background, right? In America. He said that foolish stuff is who's made the most heinous laws and policies? Who's the personnel who created the Constitution? Who's the person who created hate laws? Who the personnel who created Jim Crow laws? But they'll tell people, obviously, who just ran over as fast as possible on those planes and boats. However, numbers of ones that came over here illegally, the ones that are over here illegally, ones that stay over in America, overstaying their visas, one that pop out a baby two or three, four, or five times, bam, automatic citizenship, and and which who they should be thankful for toward the American blacks because of the 14th Amendment that was supposed to be about black folks finally making them citizens, which other people now can be illegal or non-citizens, pop out a child or children, should I say, that child then is American citizen. They sit back laughing because they know most likely they will not be deported unless they did something really bad, and that really still depends. See the game of that? It's a disgusting game, but there are people within the American blacks overall, and there's some people from some other cultures who do this. When you really, they do this. Yes, right. I see nothing. I know nothing. But at the same time, especially toward American blacks, while other cultures saying that's right, continue to act like you see nothing and know nothing, while we continue to be bypassing American blacks overall. So let me relay this over and finishing up in a few minutes. So that fool said that Egypt is not in Africa. Now I know, but again, I utilize this as a timepiece purpose, right? A timepiece purpose because this fool, what he said, has been talked about how Harvard numbers of personnel was a predominant culture in America, Harvard numbers of personnel within Harvard parts of Europe, Harvard parts of other places, numbers of Arab personnel who know where they are that are latecomer colonizers to Egypt, but at the same time, the ones who know where they are, same time, take accolades and thinking that they built the pyramids. Boy, you talking about some serious messed up game plan that's constructively allowed. So that fool that you just saw, that particular Asian male said Egypt is not in Africa. Okay. Give me one moment here. Give me one moment. Egypt's not in Africa. Huh? Uh, you see already what I see as well. You see in the upper right where Egypt is. Uh-huh. Right next to it on the left side is Libya. Right below Libya is Chad. Going toward the right of Chad is Sudan. Going back up, going back up from Sudan, going back up is Egypt. Right? Geographical. Right? Europeans, hundreds of years ago, were not sitting there calling uh, uh, the right side from Egypt going into Israel, going by Jordan. They didn't call that the Middle East. Chad connected to Sudan. However numbers of personnel from certain parts of Africa. It is an insult as well because there are Afro-Egyptian personnel that would have predated what we call Arab personnel because those are latecomer people in the first place. They came AD, right? They came AD, which means I guess after Christ or the other different word they use for that AD, basically on that. The pyramids were built BC. So one of the biggest uh, uh, pyramids. Let me read some. Ancient Egypt. The first pyramids were built by Pharaoh Khufu around 2550 BC. Khufu's pyramid is also known as the Great Pyramid and is the largest among the three. So 2550 BC, which you never can test, going to probably go back. Anyway, the point is that 2550 BC that it said that it was built. So that means from 2023 the 21st century AD. So the 21st century AD before 2550 BC would be over 4,000 years ago. 4,000 years ago, there would have been no such thing as no Arabs in Egypt. Arabs wouldn't even been thought about like that. So how can the people who built the pyramids, where certainly Caucasians were not around in Egypt and 4,000 years ago building nothing in Egypt, right? Because that skin would have been tore off by that sun, baking that skin with that hot UV light, turn that skin up. So obviously they couldn't build the pyramids, but you got personnel within certain parts of pyramids culture. You have certain ones the Europeans keep wanting to play that little silly game when again that UV would have baked that skin, right? It's like infantile responses that some ones that try to play that game, right? And Arabs, I just relayed over to you, were latecomers. They were latecomers, so they weren't even around in Egypt like that and doing no pyramid time like that in Egypt, build no pyramids because they were colonizers and they came three something. Was it over like 3,000 or close to 3,000 years later or something like that? 2000, the point is that they were latecomers on that. Yeah, by around 639 AD, the Arab conquest of Egypt, latecomers to civilizations and pyramids that were already built before they arrived, right? Which is around 639 to 646 AD. The pyramids were already being built 1,000 years before that, before they arrived. See, it's an insult that how one of the black comedians, Kevin, one of the guys with Kevin, that where he was going over there to Egypt to do a concert, and you had some Arabs that got into their feelings because he was like, "Hey, you know what?" They started blaming him, talking about Kevin, he's about Afrocentrism, Afrocentrism, and stuff like that. And kings and queens, black folks, and they got mad and stuff like that. So they did a bullcrap, illogical cancellation of the concert, talking about it was for logical, it was for logistic reasons, but it was not. So this is the thing about like the movie Cleopatra. You got people that was jumping up and down, talking about because they want to think that as if Cleopatra was either Caucasoid or they would think that she is Arab, which and she was neither. So I'm gonna play this one last thing. I'm gonna play this one last thing from the greatness of the American Black, Dr. John Henry Clark, the iconic American Black scholar.
But when the Romans disgraced themselves in the mismanagement of Christianity, they created a valcule. Islam moved into that valcule. The Africans thought that Islam would get the Romans off of their back. They were right. Islam got the Romans over their back, and the Arabs jumped on their back, and they're still there.
Mm, mm. Numbers of Arabs are still on the backs of certain numbers of Africans. And again, supremacists, that's why supremacists is brilliant. Again, because there are numbers of Arab people that sit there because I understand it's understandable why there are certain Arabs out there that are into their feelings. because it's like they, the ones who know they are, they were late coming colonizers. They know they ain't built no pyramids. They know they were not pharaohs like that. They know that. Khufu, the Great Pyramid, was not an Arab. Since that pyramid Khufu was built 4,000 plus years ago. Arabs were not in Egypt like that 4,000 years ago. They were latecomers AD, right? As I told you before, as I commented to you, around 639 AD, which is almost like 3,000 some years later. After the first pyramid, after the pyramid Khufu was built 2550 BC. So you're talking about basically almost 3,000 years later when the Arabs came in and conquered Egypt. So how the heck are they going to build the pyramids? Golly. But again, there's Afro-Egyptian personnel that's really not even talked about. But see, again, there can be some blame on certain situations because there are some people who can say, wait a minute now, this is allowed in higher parts of Africa to allow Arab personnel to make the demands to act like that they sit there and built the pyramids. And when I even showed that map, and it's so logical, common sense, obviously Egypt is part of Africa, or the other true name, or one of the other true names, because Egypt is a Greek word, right? On that. So the thing about it is that uh, the word was actually Kemet on that. Kemet, Kemetic origins on that. So that's the thing about it. It's like how they numbers of Arab personnel, how they know they have uh, they know they have some what's the word for it? Beneficialness of monetariness to continue that lie or pseudo white lie to make, well, anyway, a lie, a not historical truth to it, that they built the pyramids, right? So it's an outright pseudo illogical lieness on that part. Because again, first of all, again, Egypt, the word Egypt is not Arab word, is a Greek word. It says again, the, how can that be built? The pyramids be built. It's not even named after. That's not even an Egyptian word. But they supposed to be building the pyramids when the word Egypt is a Greek word, because obviously Greeks, well, obviously because Greeks was going into Egypt and whatever places trying to do their thing, right? Because again, jealousy is jealousy on that. So I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show. And let me play this again because I know quite a number of American blacks still don't quite get it, with few exceptions. And unfortunately, there are certain numbers of African personnel that don't get that there are people who can care less about them that are sitting in Africa right now that are sitting there just doing.
Peace, perhaps on your side, Maximal scum. Yes, but not on ours. Permit me to inform you that an enemy which appears to be peaceful may in fact be merely biding its time.
Yep. Just like certain people of colorness and minority that have put the American blacks overall in those type of genericality, diluted factor terminologies of saying people of color, minority. You say, what does that look like? Since American blacks 900% would have been in America before all these other different people of color, minorities would have even existed in America. But how many break immigration laws, overstay visas, run over to America as fast as possible uh, to get freeness or freebies or pseudo freebies or get some kind of benefits that they know they get uh, and things like that. And they get these things off of the American blacks because of American Black pain on that. So again, I thank you for tuning in to the Real CP Show.